Many are posting on Facebook about the injustice done by CPS and DCFS. Many want them abolished and shut down, as I do, and I have written many letters regarding this for 17 years since 2009. And I still write the letters and make the comments and do the posts on my Facebooks, as many do, thankfully. Hopefully everybody can band together and change the unfair system in the country. I was very wronged. It was totally unjust what was done, and I wanted to explain it. It was like a catch-22 spider web, and a situation which never should have happened, as I was a over good mother, very devoted to my daughters, educated in parenting, patient and kind, and I'm sober and AA since 1985. I stayed home with my daughters for 17 years. I am one who drove them to and from school and stayed with them after school and at night, and was the mom chauffeur in their teenage years and did everything right. I didn't even get a babysitter till 2005. That was maybe 3 times. And I made plans to go to AA meetings or out with real estate customers, as I was a real estate agent for 10 years in the suburbs. And I made plans when they were on their dad's visitation schedule. And that was Saturday night at 5 p.m. till Sunday at 5, and a few hours Tuesday and Thursday. And he usually picked them up at school a couple days a week, or one day, so I could work a long real estate day. And things went on in '05 where he was unavailable to have them, both daughters, Saturday night from 5 till Sunday at 5. And that's when I would often work selling real estate, when he had our daughters. And due to circumstances, he was not able to pick them up at school and watch them after school like he had done for about 5 years. And that affected my real estate hours, obviously. And so I've been unraveling all of this. Looking back, it was many years ago, but I'm explaining the injustice done and how I was very wronged and how it was very unfair by what was done. And it was done by others who lied about me anonymously, and a person who lied from 5 hours away and who's not a parent and who was not around us. It was very unfair. A case file was opened based on lies by people who were not credible, who didn't know me, obviously, and who didn't know the whole history or story. And very unfair. The case file's opened by what somebody says that's not true. And this was '09, and the lies were all dismissed without prejudice in the court of law in '09. And the case was closed July 2010. My ex-husband, the dad, got physical custody and legal custody. And it was not fair at all. And anyway, well, I'm going to back up and say, well, we lived in Valley Glen in a house for 5 years and both worked in the movie business. And I bought the house with my $50,000 from my townhome I owned and sold in Studio City, where I lived 10 years and worked as a costume designer in the movie industry. And then, well, I gave up working to be a full-time stay-at-home mother, and did that a year in Valley Glen and 2 years in the suburbs that we moved to. And we decided we're going to move to the suburbs for the school system the Las Virgenes school system instead of having our kids go to school in the middle and high schools in the San Fernando Valley. And we wanted to get away from the crime-ridden area. There was a shooting at a bank, and my car got broken into, and I was picking up my daughter at kindergarten in Sherman Oaks. My wallet was stolen off the seat, and suddenly I thought, this is not safe. I don't want to raise our daughters here with crimes going on, and I don't want them going to the middle high schools here. And so we decided we're going to move to the suburbs for the school system and for them to grow up in a suburb community, to be in the same school system, kindergarten to high school, for security and stability and so on. And so we bought a house in the suburbs. I was a stay-at-home mother for 2 years. And then in '99, I got a real estate license and started selling real estate. And I was waiting until our younger daughter was almost 4 to start preschool to go to work. And I worked while my daughters were at school. And I got up at 4 a.m. and worked selling real estate on the internet 4 to 7 a.m. before my kids got out of bed. Then I worked from 8 to 2 or 3. So I worked like a 10-hour day. And I worked 2 long days when their dad picked them up and watched them, or my mom drove out from Sherman Oaks, picked them up 1 day a week and watched them. And so that was a pretty steady way of life and schedule and routine for my mom in Sherman Oaks to drive out half an hour, or their dad to pick them up. And then, anyway, so I could work 1 or 2 long days as a realtor. And I could work Saturday at 5 till Sunday at 5, showing properties and having open houses and so on. And, well, that change affected my time to sell real estate, obviously. And during those years, when this occurred, middle of '05 to '09, I didn't have help because my mother got memory loss. She was 81 years old when I bought a 1-story house for her to live with us in the same area as our 2-story, same school district, was down the street. And I didn't want to ask her to drive out and pick my kids up anymore because she was getting too old. And then my ex, their dad, was not able to due to circumstances. And so anyway, suddenly I didn't have as much time. Suddenly I'm a teenage mom chauffeur at night. Suddenly we have all these activities at night. And anyway, I still worked. I still made good money. I still always had usually 4 real estate listings, and I usually sold 5 properties a year and made a great living. And it just was all automatic. And I worked very hard, and I just worked hard while they were at school, and I worked on the phone when they were home doing homework because they were older. Because in '06, my younger daughter was 11, and my older daughter was 14 and turned 15. And anyway, I was legally separated January 2000, and my ex gave me full physical custody, and we had joint legal custody, and we agreed on his visitation, which was Tuesday, Thursday, couple hours, Saturday 5 to Sunday at 5. And that was like clockwork for about 5 years and worked well. And I did not receive child support. I was supposed to receive $1,800 a month child support and never did. And we were legally separated, filed in the Van Nuys courthouse, January 2000. Custody agreement was filed there, January 2000. Then it was filed in the Ventura County Court for the divorce, That went through, and it was filed December '04. It went through September '05. So the custody agreement that said Fox-Taylor, custodial parent, full physical custody, Ventura County Court, Nancy Fox. Nancy Fox-Taylor was my name. But I restored to Fox in the divorce in '05. And when we were divorced, we hadn't been together 5.5 years, almost 6 years. I had paid all the bills alone, provided alone, without child support. And gladly, I loved being with my daughters all the time. My world revolved around them. I worked hard to provide. I paid for everything myself. I paid the mortgage, all the household bills. I paid for their ballet lessons, horses, and nice clothes, and great food, and you name it. And I paid for their braces, 2 orthodontist bills, and camps, and so on. And the custody agreement, he was supposed to pay half of medical orthodontist bills and camp and that sort of thing, and never did. Anyway, but he had great motion picture health insurance. That's how I looked at it. Very good insurance, so we never had to pay for a doctor visit or an antibiotic prescription or anything. So I just thought, well, he has great health insurance all these years, so I paid for braces. I did try to get half the money, like $7,000 or something. Paid for braces for 2 daughters, and I paid for theater arts camps and everything myself. He was supposed to pay half and never did. And anyway, I paid everything myself 5.5 years. And then, well, when he was unable to help me and have both daughters Saturday night at 5 till Sunday at 5, where I worked selling real estate at that time, and Tuesday, Thursday after school, where he'd pick them up, when he was not doing that anymore, I thought, I'm going to just file the $500 child support. I reduced $1,800 a month to $500 a month in the divorce in '05 to be nice. I thought, I'm making good money as a realtor. I'm reducing the $1,800 to $500. I thought, that way, it might have been $400 even. No, it's $500. I said he'll pay $500 for 4 years, and then our older daughter turned 18 in '09. I thought, then it's $250 a month. I thought, well, that's fair. I thought, I need to file this because now he can't help me, so I could work on when he normally had the kids for visitation. So I thought that's fair to get $500 a month child support. Reduced it $1,300 since I had less time to work, and so I could pay somebody if I wanted to, which I rarely did. I did pay a relative a couple times, and an older teenager, and a few times, and anyway, I thought, well, that's fair. And now looking back, I guess I should have written a letter and explained it all. Anyway, he didn't want to pay the money and ended up foreclosing and moving back to the San Fernando Valley after we lived in the suburbs, all of us, 12 years. And 40 minutes away to North Hollywood to a guest house. And, so the plans didn't work out, because I thought, well, when I bought the 1-story house, I thought he lives a few blocks away, 2-story condo. I did gift him $10,000 to help him buy it from my equity from the 2-story house, as I thought, well, for my daughter's sakes, I wanted them to have their own bedroom, be close by, as one of them didn't like staying at his 1-bedroom in Thousand Oaks, an apartment, and at Wilbur Oaks, and she was afraid to stay there. So I thought, for my daughter's sakes, I'll gift them $10,000 so they're in our neighborhood and their own bedroom, 2-bedroom condo, and did that. And thought, well, someday I'll make $400,000 on it probably, or $200,000. And anyway, I did it. because it was the right thing to do. And for their safety, they have their own room at their dad's. So I thought, well, they'll be there 2 days a week doing homework. They'll make dinner and have them Saturday 5, Sunday 5. I'll be able to work more. And it was very close to the house I bought in '05, which was 2 miles from the 2-story tract home. Very close, same school, right down the street, as I said. And so I thought, well, he'll have them there doing homework, making dinner, and I could work 2 long days a week. And Saturday, Sunday, like doing open houses, showing properties, so on. Did not happen. So all the plans that I had, expectations, you might say, I assumed this, and didn't work out. And he couldn't help out, and that's what happened. And my mom was too old to drive out and help. I didn't want to ask her to. Half an hour from Sherman Oaks. And so all this plays into when I was lied about to DCFS. And anyway, he owed me $120,000 back child support from the other years I kept track of. And then, well, a lawyer sent me a letter. They were going to audit me because of this $500 a month I was taking, docking his check, you know, for child support, $500 a month. And I thought, I reduced it $1,300 a month. He'd never paid child support. Now they're auditing me. So I thought, well, then I'm going to file the back child support. So I went to Ventura County Child Support Services and filed the $120,000 in back child support I was owed. And I thought, they're going to audit me then about this $500 a month. Then here I just reduced it $1,300 a month to be nice. Well, then I'm going to file the money owed. So otherwise I probably would not have. So I did that at Child Support Services, Ventura County, and they have they had me fill out visitation time schedules, what hours he was with the kids, and which ended up being about 2 hours a week with our younger daughter from middle of '05 to middle of '09. And I filled out all the forms, like 4 years of forms, visitation schedule when he had our daughter. And they also had me fill out a form about medical and camp expenses. So I put down braces, orthodontist, $14,000 or something, camp, and birthday parties. I think he owed me half of $14,000, and I never got that. But their lawyer went to court for people to know, and they got it all filed. Then I started getting child support arrears for the $120,000, very small amount, and they told me they didn't really enforce like camp and medical bills. They couldn't get me that. And anyway, I tried to get it years later, but never did. But anyway, so that was all filed, $120,000, Ventura County Child Support Services. As said, that's where I had full physical custody. It said custodial parent, Fox-Taylor, Ventura County, Family Court Online, VenturaCounty.court.org. Anyone could look it up, Fox-Taylor. And this all plays into me being set up to DCFS by others. And that I think my ex, their dad, just went along with. And which in some ways is a blessing in disguise, because we were stalked in our area, and I'll explain many gang stalking crimes that went on. So I was feeling very scared to live there, and scared for my daughter's safety there, where we'd lived 12 years. So in one way it was good they got out of there, the 12-year suburb area we'd lived, and it was good when I was lied about to DCFS. They were at their dad's, because I was scared to death of foster care, adoption, human trafficking, and child traffic, just scared to death. Just all I cared about was my kids were okay. So, anyway, I didn't I didn't try to bad rap him or do any of that many do, as I thought, well, they're safe, they're with their dad, they're in North Hollywood. I ended up living at my mom's 10 minutes away to look after her there with dementia, because she got memory loss and lost her license. And I thought, well, I'm 10 minutes from them, staying in Sherman Oaks, and at least they're with their dad. I was so afraid of adoption, foster care, trafficking, and all of that. And that's what I was scared to death of. So I thought, I'm not going to, badger him and dig up all kinds of stuff on him, because God forbid, what if they put him in foster care and they went missing and all of that. So, as I said, it was a really like a spider web, like catch-22s everywhere. Anyway, so '05, my daughters and I are happy in our one story I bought. Invested $300,000 and got $270,000 into it, and that was my equity from the two-story. He got his equity January 2000 in the legal separation. He got his equity then. He signed off on the property title, and I paid the mortgage alone, all the bills alone, no child support, as I said a million times. I updated the house with my income. I put a roof on, and I had the exterior painted, new garage doors done, landscaped, and I updated the house with my money, and I paid all the bills and the mortgage. So I didn't owe him a penny, because he got his equity January 2000 from the house. So anyway, and I did that by getting up at 4 in the morning, working 3 hours selling real estate on the internet, running around working when my kids were at school with no time to eat lunch. As I drove my kids to and from school, they didn't take the bus, and provided well. I was very happy, working hard, paying for things for them, and that's what drove me to work hard selling real estate, was to provide well for my two daughters. I started leasing my older daughter's equestrian horses, paying for equestrian lessons and horse shows, equestrian shows. Our younger daughter was in Royal Academy Dance Ballet starting at age 4 years old in our area, and she was supposed to graduate that program at about 16. And I'm explaining this because all the plans set in stone were changed because I was lied about to DCFS. And so that's what I want to point out, is here, we moved in the house, everything was great in '05. I sold 7 homes, made $150,000 that year, and then suddenly my ex or dad couldn't help as usual, and my mom was too old to ask to drive out, and suddenly I'm the nighttime chauffeur, driving to ballet and meetings and driving both teenage girls around, my daughters. And anyway, so I just compacted my schedule and hours. I started selling more estates. So I was becoming an estate agent. And I sold, I don't know, probably 5 estates. I had an estate listing I was showing appointment only. So I was selling properties I'd make $50,000 on, selling one property. And so you work a little, well, you work slower pace, but you make more when the escrow closes. Instead of selling a lot of homes for $750, $800, you sell one home, you make $50,000. I sold 10 homes in our 2-story neighborhood, make $20,000 a property. They were about $750, $850. So I sell 2 of those, make $20,000 each. With estates, you make $50,000 on one. So anyway, I was just kind of changing. I was adding in estates into my real estate business, which is a whole different pace. And I had an estate listing in our neighborhood, in the house I bought in '05, which I've explained many times, was a little 2,500 original dated custom home built in an estate neighborhood where the houses were 3 times as big and 3 times as much. So it was a very good deal to buy a little dated house that you could add on to an update that would be worth $2 million. And I knew as a realtor it was a great investment and great location right by the elementary school and right by their dad and everything, right by neighborhoods where I sold properties starting in '99. So I knew I'd be prosperous there, selling homes and estates. And as I said, I kind of was adding in estates. I sold estates in North Ranch, Sherwood Estates, and I had a estate listing in our neighborhood. I sold 2 estates from the listing. And I was at our house, going to show my listing on sign calls and working just with my appointments set up and last minute appointments from the sign and my times in the LA newspaper, LA Times. And anyway, so that's what went on in 6, 7, 8. I did 9. I did not have the dad to help or my mom. And I was just selling estates, showing an estate, showing other listings, knowing, well, I'll make $50,000 when it sells. I was working on 2 more estate listings from the listing I had. So it was just a different pace where you get paid maybe later on, but you'll make $50,000 and you'll get buyers and more listings, so it'll pay off. And that's what I was in the middle of doing. And with my compacting my time with my shortened hours I had. But I made a lot of calls and texts and so on. After school, my daughters were older. And so, anyway, they were doing homework, and I would sit making real estate calls. And you can't do that when your kids are little. So things just changed. We're just all adjusted to it, and everything flowing along. And then, well, in '05, the mailbox was smashed on the ground, and it was smashed on the ground again May 9th or 10th, '06. My SUV was broken into in our driveway. $500 worth of property was stolen from the car break-in. That was my real estate portfolio with my flyers I listed properties with, and an award of merit I won for selling 5 properties my first year as a realtor from '99 to 2000. So they stole my livelihood. They sold what I listed properties with. And they stole my daughter's ballet bag, Royal Academy of Dance, big block ballet bag full of toe shoes and leotards and tights and dance clothes and tap shoes and jazz shoes. And I took her to dance 3 days a week. I paid for ballet, I think around $300 a month, for many years myself. And that was her life. And she helped at dance class too. And my other daughter, as I said, took equestrian lessons. She also worked at the equestrian camp in the summer. She also got a job when she just turned 16, or she might have been 15, I believe. And she started working at Banana Republic, the Thousand Oaks Mall, when she was, I believe, 15. And that's the point. I was set up to DCFS by lives affected our suburb lives. So that was my daughter working as a teenager at Banana Republic for, I'd say, 3 years before I was lied about. And my daughter, and my younger daughter, Royal Academy of Dance, she had been there 10 years in our area and planned to graduate there. Same school. My younger daughter was in the same school system we started at in '97. And we'd been driving to that elementary school 12 years. My older daughter was graduating high school, starting Moore Park College, and starting to drive. And I went to AA meetings in that area, and we all went to 12-step meetings there, and Al-Anon and Alateen, and our lives were there. AA, Al-Anon, Alateen, and Banana Republic, a job of my daughters, and Royal Academy of Dance, and equestrian center, and that's where I sold real estate. And I built up a 10-year business that was around, I'd say, 7 neighborhoods around our house I bought in '05. That's where I sold homes. Neighborhoods all around right where we lived. So location, location, location to sell lots of real estate. Everything was great. And we were all situated, acclimated, and same, as I said, 2 miles from our 2-story tract home, where we lived 8 years. So we're in the same area, same city, same county, same school district. My younger daughter my older daughter went to another school district because she wanted to for high school, and was graduating in '09 when I was lied about to DCFS. And she says, why can't I have my 18th birthday party at our house? I said, because of DCFS. That is just heartbreaking still to think of. My daughter I raised since birth, turning 18, and I couldn't have her party at our house because I was lied about to DCFS. My younger daughter wanted to go to the high school there, be a cheerleader, graduate Royal Academy of Dance, probably at 16 or 17. And that was our life for 12 years. And that's where I built up a business. And then DCFS detained custody, took my daughters to their dads in North Hollywood, 40 minutes away. And they called and said they're taking my kids by emergency custody. And I said, well, what's the emergency? There's no emergency. What's the reason? And they're like, well, you haven't been to therapy. You'll find out in court this week. They did not call and ask me if I'd been to therapy. And came home, all their possessions were gone from their 2 bedrooms. I could not believe it. And it is just baffling. How could that happen? And that's what happened. And then I go to court, see pages of lies describing dreams I had where I was worried about my kids, something happening to them. Well, that was because people were lying about me behind my back and setting me up, and that was a warning. So I had warning dreams to protect my kids, and there were pages of lies describing it wrong. And I had the dreams as a warning, and that's not child endangering. And anyway, and the person 5 hours away lied, and who has no kids, as I said, and no business speaking my name. It was not in our suburb area, but once a year on Christmas, and I just could not believe it. And it was unfair, unjust, and ridiculous to lie about an overnight mom so devoted to their daughters, paid for everything themselves, who's sober and Alcoholics Anonymous since 1985. Because I work in AA and an Al-Anon 12-step program, and was an overnice, overpatient, very good mom, and that's a fact. And so, in '08, my mother lost her driver's license from memory loss by a doctor diagnosis, who sent the letter to the Department of Motor Vehicles so she could not drive. So in '08, my schedule was affected more, as I drove to Sherman Oaks 2 or 3 days a week. I drove my mother around 8:30 to 11:30 a.m., drove back to the suburbs, picked my daughter up at high school at noon, drove her to a fashion class that was, I believe, 1 to 2 o'clock. I waited in the parking lot for her, didn't want her taking the bus from high school to the Sears Roebuck where the fashion class was. in Thousand Oaks at the Jan's Mall. I didn't want her taking the bus, overprotective mother. I hardly let him walk down the street, even in the suburbs, because I have two beautiful daughters, and I'm overprotective. And anyway, and we were stalked, is why. So I was scared to death of stalkers, and nobody asked me anything as a point. And I did report them to the sheriff 5 times, the stalkers. And when I was driving my daughter to Westlake High, a black Cadillac with tinted windows drove right next to my SUV, like he was stalking, and seemed like a scary man. And stalkers stalked our street, our mailbox, smashed it twice, broke in the car, stole property. Our cats went missing Labor Day 2008. So these are called gang stalking crimes, like hate crimes, that went on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And after 4 years of this, here I was scared to death, worried, and my hours, as I said, were even shorter because I was driving my mother around, which I wanted to do, of course. She would have moved in with us in 08, but I was too worried because of the stalkers. And so in 09, I was going to have her move in July 09, and then she would have been under our roof. I could have worked more hours, and my older daughter started driving. So I would have been driving one daughter around, and I would have had my mom under my roof, our roof, and that was in 09. And I had 4 listings, and 2 sellers were buying, and that was from all the work I'd already done. 6, 7, 8, and 9, and even before then, one was a repeat customer. So I had a lot of business going. My SUV broke down in early 09. I believe May 09. And that week, someone lied I was suicidal when I was not and never have been. And the same week, somebody sent DCFS for no reason. And they came, they set me up when my SUV broke down. After here, I'd been driving my mom around with dementia for a year in the valley, single mom, doing everything alone, paying for everything alone for 9 years at this time, almost a decade. And here I'm the provider, custodial parent, full physical custody for 9 years alone. Joint legal we had, and my ex-husband, the dad, foreclosed, moved to North Hollywood, 40 minutes away, like I said. And DCFS came and said, "You pray and meditate in your bathroom?" Yes. And turned on the showers, looked in a cupboard, and that was it. I thought I'll never see DCFS again. I'm over nice. I'm sober since 1985. I never hit or spanked my kids. I rarely raised my voice, and was my calm, patient self, and as usual. And I thought, I'll never see DCFS again. I've done nothing wrong. There could never be a case filed. And so I got out my Child Support Services papers that Ventura County Child Support Services filed at the court. Like I said, they do that with their own lawyer, and they were very on top of it. And anyway, I showed them I'm owed $120,000 back child support. My SUV broke down, and I showed them the visitation schedules I filled out that their dad had our younger daughter 2 hours a week. I showed I paid for braces, camp, birthday parties, and got everything out. Huge file. I had a briefcase. I got all the papers out, put them on the coffee table for DCFS. And so they could see I have full physical custody, custodial parent, provided a loan for 9 years, and so on, and paid for everything, braces, camp, and all of that, and didn't get child support. so they could see, oh, the mom's the provider. Oh, the mom has full physical custody. He gave her 9 years ago. Oh, she takes care of the kids alone. He owes her $120,000. And I thought, well, they'd see he owes me money. My SUV broke down, so he could just they could have demanded some back child support, like $10,000 or something. And DCFS said, oh, they couldn't help me with money. That's what I was told. And left, and I thought, well, there could never be a case file. And then, well, I called a relative to bring me my mom's car, and anyway, people went against me, relatives lied about me, and turned against me when I'm the one who did everything for everyone, everything for my daughters by myself, thankfully, gladly, everything for my mother, and everything for other relatives, and I'm the one, drove everyone everywhere, did everything for everyone, and I thought, oh, I better reciprocate, run and jump, and get me my mom's car, help me out, single mom realtor whose SUV broke down, and no such luck. Nobody helped. Nobody brought me her car. Or anyway, they worked against me. And I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. You'd think they would have seen all the wear and tear she's put on her car, driving back and forth to Sherman Oaks, driving a relative around, back and forth to the valley, and a cousin, and you'd think they would have seen, you'd think they would have said, oh, I'll rent you a car, or I'll get you a car, you would think. But no, nobody helped me, and here I had 4 listings, 2 sellers buying, $166,000 in real estate business going. And then a not needed case file was opened, which I couldn't believe. And then they said, well, why don't you go to the Ventura County Court and then have your younger daughter stay at her dad's for summer visitation. So we said, okay. And so he and I went to Ventura County Court, or in Fox-Taylor, custodial parent, full physical custody, 9 years at that time, and agreed our younger daughter would be at his house for summer visitation. And then somebody offered me a job on a movie as costume supervisor, my old profession, and it came with a rental car. So salary, rental car. I thought, well, this will get me unstuck. This will look good to DCFS. I have an income and I have a car. So I thought it probably didn't look good to them. I didn't have a car. And anyway, and I don't charge on charge cards. And not looking back, I guess I could have tried to get a charge card. I always would keep cash in my savings and transfer it for bills. And I don't charge. And I didn't even think of getting a credit card. But normally my mother would have helped me out and driven me her car. I would have driven her home and driven back. She would have handed me a couple $1,000 probably until I sold a home and closed an escrow and put 20, 40, 50,000 in the bank. But my mom had memory loss, and relatives worked against us. And you're supposed to do what an elder would normally do before they have memory loss. And you're supposed to say, well, what would mom do if she didn't have memory loss? She would have driven me a car that second. And I would have driven her home and driven back. And that's a fact. As I always had my mother to depend on, no matter what. And she had me to depend on, no matter what. And I'm the child who stayed in LA County and committed to living always near my mother. And I bought a one-story for her to live with my daughters, her granddaughters, and I, instead of an elder care. And my mom, well, she always said, I take care of you, you take care of me. I depend on you, you depend on me. And that's our secret pact. And don't tell anybody. But we always depended on each other like life partners. Like it was a given. If my car broke down, she would have driven me her car, or she would have given me her credit card on the phone to rent a car, and I would have paid her back when an escrow closed. It would have been so simple. But my mom had memory loss, and her living trust will went missing when I was set up to DCFS. Her diamond rings went missing in Fall 07 from her house in Sherman Oaks. Her bank account was changed that I was a POA on since 1978. It was changed the week I was lied about to DCFS, and a case file was opened based on lies that were dismissed. And so I could not depend on my mom, could I? No, when normally it was just a given. And my older daughter, well, they detained custody of both daughters and lied it was emergency custody when there was no emergency. Called me on my cell the day after I wrapped the 30-day movie shoot as costume supervisor and told me this. And I had a $1.8 million listing to relist. I would have made $50,000 on. And my younger daughter was already at her dad's for summer visitation. We agreed on, and their dad and I agreed on in the Ventura County Court. So why would they detain custody of our younger daughter when she was 14, when she was already at his house in North Hollywood, guest house, for summer visitation, agreed on in the Ventura County Court, where I was custodial parent with full physical custody? And why, when my older daughter was almost 18, 6 weeks away or 5 weeks away from turning 18, started driving, had graduated high school, worked at Banana Republic 3 years, and was starting Moore Park Junior College. Why would they detain custody of someone almost 18 and somebody already at their dad's for summer visitation agreed on in the court? That is what happened. That's why it's a complicated spider web, like catch-22s every way you turn. If I'd known all this looking back, I would have told my older daughter, run and get legally emancipated. So she would never have been any part of it whatsoever. She couldn't even have her 18th birthday party at our house she planned to have there. She was going to be there in her room doing college homework and carrying on with the suburb life we'd led 12 years. My younger daughter was going to be there, high school cheerleader, Royal Academy of Dance Ballet, graduating that. And her bedroom was as big as my master. And I provided well with cute clothes and good food, and I worked when they were at their lessons, like equestrian lessons, ballet, and so on. And that's how I provided. I scheduled appointments for real estate when they were busy at ballet and horseback riding and that kind of thing. And 18 years old, my daughter driving college, I would have had more time to sell real estate starting in 09. And I was set up at this time, right at the time my business would have doubled, right when my mom was going to move in, right when it would have made more income. It's just my SUV broke down, and that's all. And cars break down happens to people at least once in their life. They have to get a ride or borrow a car or take the bus or something. It's like not a big deal. It's just temporary. Then you get turned around and carry on. And that's when I was set up in 09 to DCFS. And that's why I'm explaining this, is it ruined all the plans, our 12-year suburb life. And then all the lies dismissed without prejudice in court in 09. And the paper said the mother's asset is she's sober a long time in AA. Then they made me drug and alcohol test when I'm a long-time sober AA member. And I had never had to do that in my life. Why would they do that when it was listed as my asset? Then they had me go to parenting class. I could teach the parenting class. Then they had the dad be my monitor when I should have been his monitor. Okay, he is the one who shoved our daughter in '05 and had a restraining order, who punched me square in the jaw in 1995, who threw a coffee mug at me, and he hit me in '95. Nothing happened. He went to anger management in '95. Nothing. Never saw him hit or spank our kids. I went to Al-Anon. He went to anger management in '95. Both programs helped. 10 years later, shoved our daughter in '05. Tore our garage apart in front of our younger daughter when he was picking him up when I had just left. So he should have gone to parenting class. He should have drug alcohol tested. And anyway, luckily, he got sober, and he, as I said, he moved from the suburbs, foreclosed, to North Hollywood, 40 minutes away. He did get sober in AA, thank God. So he got sober in AA. He had a nice guest house. They shared a bedroom with no closet, and moved there to the city from the suburbs, where we lived 12 years, where they had their own bedrooms always. They had large bedrooms, large bathroom, double sinks, and laundry room in between. And suddenly, they're 40 minutes away in North Hollywood. And my younger daughter ends up skateboarding down Vineland to East Valley High School that had gun detectors. I mean, it's like, then she took a subway to downtown to Locked Performing Arts High, walked to ballet class in NoHo Arts by herself when she was 14. Anyway, I wouldn't even let them walk down the street in the suburbs. So that's the point. Is Child Protective Services is not protective. Okay, this was DCFS. This was not protective. And the point is, nobody asked questions. So there should be questionnaires at least that is given to the parents and the kids. They should say, how long have you lived in this suburb area? 12 years. How long have you sold real estate in this area? 10 years. How long has your younger daughter been in Royal Academy of Dance? 10 years. How old is your older daughter? Where's she going to college? Does she work? Yes, she works at Banana Republic 3 years, got her license, and starting Moore Park College. Okay, Thousand Oaks Mall near the house. Neighborhoods where I sold the house. No one asked a question about our life. School, work, income, teenage jobs, lessons, and cheerleader, high school plans, or plans my mom was going to live in the one-story with us instead of an elder care. Nobody asked a thing about anything. And they took our daughters to North Hollywood to his guest house, small bedroom with no closet, beautiful guest house, granite counters, fireplace, and I mean, anyway, with family around. And so part of it is so awful. And then part of it is, thank God, because of adoption, foster care, trafficking, thank God they're at their dad's, is what I thought. And so I ended up moving back to my mother's. Not back. I grew up in that house, is what I meant. So I moved to my mother's in '09. I grew up there. I lived there till I was 21. But I moved back where I grew up, and to take care of my mom because she lost her driver's license, she had memory loss. because she was supposed to live at our house and we were supposed to take care of her there. So because they took my daughters to their dad's and lied it was emergency custody, it messed up my mom's plans to move in with us in the suburbs that we made in '01. Nobody asked me, what are your plans? What is your income? And nothing. So wouldn't you think they would have said, you've had full physical custody, gave you January 2000, custodial parent paid for everything alone by yourself for 9 years. So, and he's seen your younger daughter 2 hours a week for 5 years. So you must keep custody because you're the one providing and taking care of your daughters by yourself and paying for everything alone. You would think. No, they didn't do that. And they opened a case file in the LA court and I lost custody. Now how in the world could that be? So I complied with everything, and it is just unbelievable still. So this is many years ago, obviously, but I keep explaining the unfair story. And the point I want to make is that there should be at least questions. They should be closed down, but there should at least be questions. You don't just take somebody out of their area and uproot them based on lies people tell, based on secondhand hearsay information. They should ask the parents and kids a question. Have them fill out papers. How long have you been in the school system? What are your college plans? Ask teenagers, where do you work? Where are your lessons? And ask the parents, where do you make money? And how long have you had your business here? And ask questions, because when people move, they make plans. And that they decide. As I was a realtor for 10 years and know this. And they figure out what school, they ask their realtor, what school district is this, what county, and what city, and they want, what's the HOA fee, and how long will it take to drive to work. And people make plans when they move. They cannot just be uprooted by a bunch of liars telling lies to DCFS or CPS, have a case file opened on lies, secondhand hearsay, and have it affect 4 people's lives. My 2 daughters, my life, my mother's life. And she died July 5th, 2021. They ruined her plans. They ruined college plans. My daughter applied for College Board grant money under my name, the mother. How could they take custody from a longtime sober AA over nice mom who paid for everything for 9 years, had full physical custodial parent? And I said to some, this is the wrong court. He and I should have gone to Ventura County Court, and we could have agreed, and could have said, he could have said, well, I'll want my younger daughter for 4 days a week, joint custody, no child support. And we could have just made an agreement. This was for the Ventura County Family Law Court. Fox-Taylor custodial, full physical custody. Last day of court, July 2010, he got custody. Can you believe that? And here I was at my mother's, Sherman Oaks, 4-bedroom house, 10 minutes from North Hollywood, and all the time she said, well, the girls can come and live here. I have a 4-bedroom house. Now, would you think my younger daughter could have stayed there on the weekends and freely come over back and forth? You would think. And it's very unfair. Then my younger daughter and her father moved to San Diego County. And so then that happened in 2011, 2012, another county. And anyway, that is a sad story. It was all unnecessary, unjust, unfair, and wrong. And that's what I'm saying. So everybody knows the story. Nancy Gale Fox, aka Fox-Taylor, trying to have them abolished.